stadium, it's going to be a huge bill for the ownership group. And I understand that they're the richest ownership group in American sports, as I understand it. But they didn't get that way for giving away stuff for free. They will not ask the community, I do not believe, to pay like they do in other markets, where it becomes a tax bill for just hardworking Coloradans. Yeah. It's not going to work like that. And that would be a bad look. But a personal seat license is how you can do a project of that size and have the people who want to be there the most help pay for it. And so I said, I'm not reporting this, but I did hear a whisper from the right person. And then I started to do the research of just how common this is now. And it is so insanely common in the National Football League. But I do know it's going to upset a lot of people. And the people that I believe who it's going to upset the most are the long-standing season ticket holders who the tickets have been in their family for generations, and they will be effectively priced out of being a Broncos season ticket holder.
Nobody likes change. Nobody wants to pay more money than they need to pay for. But when you're telling somebody that, hey, in order to get your tickets, you're going to have to pay for that seat. And not just that seat. If you want to have 3, you're going to have to pay for all 3 of those seats. Then you get your tickets.
Right. And I just used my buddy in Buffalo as an example. They're doing this in Buffalo, right? Like, they're asking the community to help pay through taxes and the PSL.
And you said for your buddy it was $4,000 each seat.
Yep, and he's got 2 seats. So he's got to pay $8,000. Those are now his seats. He doesn't have to pay that fee again moving forward. He's got the rights to the Bills games. Now, if, Lincoln Park wants to come through Buffalo and go to that's not your seat still. You follow me?
So hold on. If T Swift decides, hey,
yes,
I want to sit here, you have to give it up.
So you are
no.
Like, if you're paying for Bills tickets, and I'm using Bills as an example because it's a recent comp and they're opening the new stadium this coming year, and I know people in Buffalo and talked to them this morning. So, like, he pays for his seats. He's got 2. Those are for Bills games. If Taylor Swift comes to Buffalo, which probably isn't coming anytime soon, but if Taylor Swift wanted to come to Western New York, you don't have the rights to those tickets. But what you could possibly have is like a early bird special, because you have those seats. You might be able to get first in line, because here they do it with because it's the same ownership group with Bills and Sabres. I believe that if you do the personal seat license for the Bills, you get like a discount or a first in line for Sabres tickets. So you can
So they give you perks. That's what they call it, perks. I hear we're going to help you out. Like, we're going to make you guys feel good. We're going to massage you so that you guys don't feel like you're giving so much money up and not getting anything back in return. Because like you've said before, it's not just about the games. Once Greg Penner and the ownership group built this stadium, this district, they're getting ready to make this worldwide where you can have the Final Four. You can have the WrestleMania. They still got WrestleMania, right?
Oh, it's going strong.
Here we go.
It's going stronger than ever, actually, somehow, some way.
You still got WrestleMania. So there's so many different events that are going to be coming to Denver, going through that district, through that stadium.
Correct.
And they're saying you could be a part of this. Here's some perks that you may want to be able to use.
Right. You'll get perks, but the personal seat license will apply to Bronco games. You are buying your seat for the Bronco games. And so I'll read a RamosLaw.com text. We're going to open up the phone lines here in a second. We have not opened up the phone lines in about a year and a half.
Ooh.
Okay? And today's going to be the day.
Today's the day.
Someone says, and throw your name on it, I'd love to give you a shout out. 907. As a season, I waited 7 years to get my tickets, and I've had these seats for the past 15 years. I have 3 seats, and depending on how much the PSL is for my section, it may be a deal breaker for me, and it sucks. And brother, I hear you. Truly and genuinely, I hear you. Because the PSL price tag will be dependent on where your seats are.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's where PSLs first started in the NBA. And I forget what team it was. I think it was Oracle. They're in the Bay Area. And it was like, hey, if you want to sit like courtside or in the premium seats, you have to pay for PSLs. You want to sit up in the 300 level? No problem. And that's how it started in the NBA. There's only 4 teams in the NBA who currently have PSLs. The Hornets, the Raptors, the Jazz, and the Warriors. But in the NFL, it's become the complete norm. So I would also like.
So tell me this, any season ticket holder that wants to be, it doesn't matter, like say you want to be a little further up, you have to pay for those seats, doesn't matter. Like, because you said like if you get to like row 300 in basketball, they're like, we're not going to mess with you guys. It's the front row court-side seat.
Yeah, that's not how it's going to work with the Broncos. I do not believe, okay? It will be like if you want to sit higher up, your personal seat license cost will just be lower.
All right.
So I'm just going to throw out numbers. I'm completely speculating. Hey, if you want to sit up in the 500 level season tickets, you're going to have a PSL of $1,000. You want to sit in section 120, row 17, again, I'm speculating, your PSL is $15,000. And if you want 2 seats, that's $30,000. You don't have to pay that fee again, but in order to buy the rights to that seat, that's the initial cost. And then if you get to a point where you don't want to pay for season tickets anymore 10 years later, and you don't want to sell your personal seat license because you can actually sell your seat to someone else, as far as I understand it, and this is kind of complicated, so I'm trying my best here to make it super digestible. If you don't want to sell it to someone else and you're done paying for season tickets, you forfeit your seat back to the team, and the team can then resell that personal seat license to someone else. So it's a bit of a convoluted topic. It's new to this market, but it is not new. And I would go so far to say, and I understand the wealth of the ownership group is so legitimate, it could upset people.
$80 billion.
I totally get it. But you don't get to $80 billion by handing out freebies.
No, you get to $80 billion being smart, making business decisions.
And maybe even, dare I say, shrewd business decisions.
Yeah.
So, fellas behind the glass, I'm curious, before we open up the phone lines, anybody have a thought, a question? And not that I can answer all of them, but I'm just throwing it out there.
So it sounds like when people have season tickets, they have season tickets not to the Broncos necessarily, but to that stadium for the Broncos. So when they switch stadiums, like let's say in 30 years, again, they're getting a new stadium, they're going to have to do a personal seat license again?
Correct.
Okay. I actually don't hate, obviously it's not great, but I think there's a lot of teams out there that have been struggling with getting public funding, like taxpayer funding. I know Kansas City had some issues getting theirs approved.
Definitely, yeah.
I know Arizona had issues getting, that's why the Coyotes left, is because they couldn't get public funding for their new arena.
Yep, you're on it.
So if you're picking between charging people that are actually caring about the Broncos, going to the Broncos, and just charging the whole public in general, I actually think it does make more sense to charge the Broncos fans that are going to be enjoying the stadium, enjoying those games.
Yep, there is a lot of truth, I think, to what you said, but it is simultaneously, I know Cecil told me there two things can't be true at the same time. I disagree. You can be going about it in a way that is almost industry standard, but still really hurt people and longtime Bronco fans. You know, if you, like, how often you hear, man, I've had tickets in my family for 40 years.
All the time. All the time.
Well, those tickets that have been, you're just paying for the ticket, a lot of these families, it's going to be a windfall for a lot of season ticket holders. It's going to be a tipping point for a lot of season ticket holders who say, yeah, we've loved these tickets, but if you're asking me that it's going to be $7,000 per seat and we've had 4 seats in our family for 30 years, it's $28,000. We can't afford that as a family, and we're not refinancing our house for Bronco tickets. It will turn into, and this is naturally happening anyway around the United States of America at NFL games in particular, it's becoming way more expensive. And the people who can afford it are the people who can afford it, and the ones who can't.
Well, to me, when I look at this too, what gets me, because growing up, Zach, just like you, we didn't have money. We weren't going to Bronco games. We didn't even think about a season ticket.
Yep.
I didn't know about a season ticket until I got with the Buffs. And we had some fans or alumni that were like, hey, we're season ticket holders. That's when I started to learn about season tickets. But when you have an ownership group that wants to do this, it's not like the fan base wants to do this stadium in this district. Like, we love it. We want to be a part of it because, like, it's new, but it's not our idea. But you have this ownership group that wants to do it. and then say, we want to do this, but also we want to take, and they're not taking our money, because what you're saying is the people that really want to be in that stadium, they're going to pay for this.
Yep.
It's just like, to me, it's like, how is that fair? I'm just asking as a fan, how would that be fair, knowing that, like, hey, we're not asking to move stadiums.
Right. So I totally understand it, man. And I'm not, here's what I want to emphasize for sure, and I'm so glad you just said that. I'm not here to say it's fair or unfair.
And I know life's not fair.
It's not. And I'm not here to say it's good or bad or indifferent. I'm just telling you, this is what's going to happen, you guys. And if I end up being wrong about this, I will be, but it's becoming industry standard.
Yeah, it's a trend.
And by the way, when we say industry standard, that's the norm. But to circle back to what you just said about the stadium, when your stadium itself is not up to industry standard, you have a decision to make. When your stadium is falling behind the times, when you built the stadium, it was already older concepts anyway, and stadiums started to change not long after that. And so the ownership group has a decision to make, like, our stadium is not on par with the rest of the league. Like, when we go on the road, look at the division. You go to SoFi, you go to Allegiant. It's like
night and day.
We are behind the times.
Night and day. I mean, you go into play the Raiders in Las Vegas. You go into the stadium. It's like the Cowboys. The players coming out of the locker room going to the football field, they got to go past the bar. So everybody's at the bar, by you, cheering for you, booing you, and you're walking past them, just like the Dallas Cowboys. You're walking past them to get to the football stadium.
Yep.
So it's unique, it's cool, and it's a lot of money to be able to do something like that.
Totally. But so I get why they're building a new stadium. I want a new stadium here in Denver. I want what they have in Vegas and Dallas and LA. And
of course you do.
Like, why would, like, here's the bottom line. We've been talking about this for years. It's
sound like my kid. We can't get everything now.
Now that's true. But when you have the richest and wealthiest ownership group and your stadium isn't up to industry standard, you have a decision to make.
Yeah.
And the decision is to build a new stadium. And then the decision is, are you going to ask the public to help pay for it? The answer to that question is no. Okay, then now are we going to just totally, or are we going to get some help here from the people who are the customers and the frontline customers? Not the people who go to one game a year, but the people who are season ticket holders. So again, I'm not here to say it's right or wrong. All right, I'm not. But I'm just telling you it is what it is. Drew, you have anything?
I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is, like, what's going to happen if, A, this PSL thing comes to fruition, and B, the stadium ends up getting built in Lone Tree. This is going to be kind of like a double slap in the face to all these Broncos fans that have had season tickets in their family for 30, 40, 50 years, whatever the case may be, that, A, the stadium's not going to be in the middle of Denver anymore, and then you got to pay for a seat on top of buying your seats anyway. It doesn't make – I mean, I understand.
It does make sense, though.
It makes sense, but it's – honestly, it's kind of a slap in the face.
If you – Drew –
because season tickets you are buying your seat. As a season ticket holder, you are purchasing your seat.
Yeah.
But then you have to tack on another fee to actually get a seat, to which you only get for said game. Like I said, I understand the logic. I just think it sucks for Broncos fans that have had their tickets for 30, 40, 50 years, whatever the case may be. I think it's a slap in the face to them.
And I am not here to tell you to not feel like that. Or anybody else out there. Let's open up the phone lines. Can we do that? 303-713-1043. I'm not here to tell anyone that they shouldn't feel like that. Because it will be, if I could say, like, a really, like it's probably not the right way to say it at all, but you're pricing out the little guy.
Yeah.
You're pricing out the little guy.
Well, you had, like, if Greg Penner was sitting right here in front of us, he said there's three options. I pay for this all, which all of us would love. Everybody here is going to have to chip in. That's the taxpayers. That's all of us, even if you don't go to the game, or we do what we're talking about. And the number one fans that are going to be at all the games, then your guys are going to have to pay a price.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and no one wants to hear this next part. No one wants to hear it. I can promise you, okay? No one wants to hear it. But if you had $80 to your name, would you give away 5 of it?
No. If you got $80.
Right. No, I know, and it's imperfect, and it's
no,
not
for sure.
it's not apples to apples. It's the most imperfect analogy ever.
I'm not giving away money.
I understand, right? So if you're Greg Penner, and you're already not going to ask the community to help pay for it, and you're worth $80 billion, in this analogy, super imperfect analogy, and you're worth $80 billion, you're not necessarily in a rush to take the entire bill of $5-6 billion totally on your name.
Well, why? This is your project. This is what you signed up for. You wanted to be an owner. You have this idea. So why wouldn't you think that or expect to? That's like if I expect to buy a house, I'm not going to look at you, Zach, and say, "Hey, I'm gonna have you chip in to help me buy that house." Like in my head, if I'm buying that house,
but what if I wanted to live?
House.
But what if I wanted to live in the house?
If you wanted to live in the house,
because if you were to follow through on that analogy, right? Because it's like,
but you're paying rent by those tickets, those season tickets. You're paying that rent. But now you're telling me like, so now I'm gonna double your rent. Say, yeah, you can be in my house, Zach, but now I'm gonna charge you for, hey, a fee to step into the house. A $10,000, whatever it is in this case, a $100 fee to step into the house, and then after that, I'm going to charge you rent.
Right. That's not a bad analogy.
But tell me, would you take that, or would you go to another place where it's like, hey, look, I'm not going to take a fee to step into your house and then pay rent?
It would just be a matter of what kind of options do I have financially for myself?
Yeah.
Is there something else when I say no? I don't actually need to be in the house. I'll spend that money elsewhere with my family. We'll maybe pick 2 Broncos games a year. We'll go to or whatever. Yeah,
and they're going to make the money back because it's not just about football games. The reason why you're doing this and you're making this district is because you're getting ready to have so many events it's not even funny.
Right.
So at some point you will get your money back.
At some point, but again, when you are talking about return on investment, like what everyone wants them to do is that, hey, you're so rich, don't ask the community and don't do PSLs, and you do all of it. I believe, from what I understand, that would be the first time that would ever happen. So, like, the Cronkies are worth top 5 money in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
They bought the land. They built the stadium. They did not ask the taxpayers to do it. But we do need some help from you Chargers fans. How bad do you guys want to be here? And the problem is for the quote-unquote little guy, for everyone who steps out of line and says, man, I'm giving up my season tickets that I've had for 20 and 30 years, there's a backlog of about 30,000 people that'll say, I'll take his place.
For some reason, everybody has money nowadays.
Not everyone. Not everyone.
Like.
There's a lot of both. There's a lot of haves and have-nots, and there's a lot of people who live in between. And it's a big topic. Okay, it's a big topic. And if you're just joining, it's like, why are you talking about this? Look, we thought it was a good day in between the preseason and the start of the regular season because we're not going to have time to be talking about this during the Broncos season. We're going to be talking about Broncos football, but we have a chance here to catch our breath. And I heard a whisper from a person that was like, man, how could this happen to where this man, I just have a relationship with the right person who heard a whisper, and it's like, and then you go back to the Broncos survey that they sent out to season ticket holders and how much related to personal seat license, and then you look at the trend in the NFL more than anyone else in American sports. And if you're just joining us, like here are the MLB teams that have PSLs: the Diamondbacks, Twins, Padres, Giants, and Cardinals.
That's it.
I can count them on one hand. Here are the teams in the NBA that have PSLs: the Hornets, the Warriors, the Raptors, the Jazz.
4.
I could lose a finger like you did yesterday and still be able to count. Now here are the teams in the NFL that have some form of PSLs: the Falcons, Ravens, Bills, Panthers, Bears, Bengals, Browns, Packers, Cowboys, Texans, Chargers, Rams, Raiders, Vikings, Giants, Jets, Eagles, Steelers, 49ers, Seahawks, Titans.
You sound like you're starting to do a song there, huh?
I sound like I was reading those first rounders that Vele was, or those rookies that Vele had a better season than last week, going back with Cecil. I would just communicate this, but then we'll take some calls here. Is that you can be upset and you can even be furious, but I would say this in partial defense of the ownership group. You would be getting upset and furious at the industry standard, not necessarily the new ownership group. Yeah. It's become the industry standard. Jason on line 1. Jason, you're our first phone call about a year and a half. What's up, dude?
Hey, Zach. How's it going, man?
Great, man. Thanks for being here. What's up?
Absolutely. Hey, I just had a question on the PSL. Maybe you can answer, maybe you can't. Let's say I purchased the PSL, let's say, using your example, $5,000 a ticket. And in 5 years, I want to sell that PSL. Am I able to leverage that and sell my PSL for, let's say, 20,000?
That's a great question.
Do you think they're going to cap that?
Jason, that's a great question. Thank you for the call. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you for listening. As I understand it, you cannot resell the PSL for more than the face value than what you paid. That is from what I understand. I'm not going to say that I'm going to argue that in court, but from reading about this, I spent about an hour this morning reading about this and looking at all these teams and making sure as many teams as I was finding on Google actually do it. So I was going team by team.
Yeah.
Do the Falcons have PSLs? Yes. Do the Bengals have PSL? And from what I understand, you cannot club someone over the head in the future and like triple up your PSL. I don't believe it works like that. Now, it could work
but you know how hard it would be, though, Zach, is if you keep the tickets and then let's just say Denver isn't doing well. Who's going to want to take your tickets? Who's going to want to take on that seat? That may have been $10,000 because Denver was doing well at the time.
It's a great question, Phil. And to a lesser degree, without the PSLs, the amount of Broncos folks I talked to in the last 8-9 years living here saying, "Man, I couldn't give away my tickets," or someone else saying, "Man, we had them for so long, but we just weren't going to pay for them. The team was so bad, we ended up dropping out." Adam on the line with us. Adam, what's up, man?
Listen to you every day. Definitely have an opinion on this. My father-in-law used to own a box at the old Mile High. We now have 4 tickets in club level, and we've been talking about this for a couple of years now because, got to be honest with you, if this PSL kicks in, they're going to kick out everyday ticket owners. It's going to go to corporations to where your season ticket owner for 30, 40, 50 years is now priced out. And the only people that's going to be able to afford that PSL is a corporation.
Adam, thanks so much for the call. There will be a lot of that. There will be a lot of that. But there also is, to the joke you cracked a handful of minutes ago, there are so many people in the Denver metro that have done really well financially for themselves. And they will find a way to make it happen. And they'll also have the understanding that we're going to put ourselves and our family in this position with this one-time fee, and it's going to suck. But as soon as we pay it one time, and it may be 10, 20, 30 grand in a lot of cases, it's like there are, and I know a handful of them. I'm thinking of a handful of people in my head that are going to pay that and not have to worry about it.
10, 20, 30 grand?
But I know 3-4 times as many people who will say, man, I won't be able to afford that. So, again, not here to say that what I believe is coming, and just to reemphasize, I am not reporting this. I have heard whispers and then have done a dive into this situation, and the fact that it's industry standard, I've heard whispers, and the fact that it was so much of an emphasis on the Broncos poll to season ticket holders. I mean, it ain't quite Audric Estime getting cut writing on the wall, but I think it's pretty damn close.
It's there. Come on, there's a trend.
Let's take one more before, and if you're holding, we'll get back to this here. But Jeremy, get right into it. What's up?
I love you guys. Thanks for taking my call. Zach, what you need to look at is what happened in L.A. So it is a different model than everywhere else, and because it's the brother-in-law of our owner, you should probably pay attention to it. And it's a Ponzi scheme. What they didn't put up the money. Crocky didn't put up the money for the stadium. He got investors to do it for him, to put up the capital with a completely different company. And that company is getting paid via these PSLs. And so that company that owns the stadium then leases it back to the Rams and the Chargers for $1 a year until everybody gets paid back for their investment, plus a whole lot of interest. So it's actually not the ownership group that puts up the money. It's other people and other organizations and private equity that's doing it. And that's what's the most scary about it. And the cheapest site licenses at SoFi are $2,500. That means the season tickets that I waited 22 years on the waiting list to get are going to cost me $10,000 to keep when this happens.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the call, Jeremy. Thank you for listening to us. Appreciate that feedback. And yeah, that is, and by the way, this is why I said, when I went through all the teams, I said some version of personal seat license, because out in Los Angeles, it's a stadium seat license, which is just like a little bit different. It's just a little bit, tweaked, thing that gets you to sort of from a fan's perspective, it's mostly the same. From the corporations and the private equity, it's a little bit different. But yeah, again, this is what I believe is coming to Denver. And if they build a new basketball and hockey stadium, I believe that it would probably be applicable there as well. And the times are changing. And there's a lot about this era of time that I don't like. And I'm not here.
Nobody likes change.
No.
And right now we're talking about it. We're panicking. We're not panicking.
No, not panicking.
Somebody out there may be panicking because it's like, dang, what's going to happen to our season tickets? But then when it gets here and you do it, it's just going to be normal again. But until then, it does suck.
It does suck. For a lot of people, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. Yeah. All right. Let's shift gears here because we've talked about this for a while. I know there's people waiting on hold. We will open this conversation back up and open up the phone lines a little bit later in the show. So you guys that I see on hold there flashing, appreciate you guys listening, appreciate you calling in. We are going to shift gears. If you want to wait the whole time, you can feel free to do that. But we're going to shift gears and we will circle back here in the not so distant future.